why we find it hard to give up bad habits and stick to new challenges, and offers a clear structural framework for going about change. It is most commonly known as a business methodology, but it has clear benefits for your own personal development too. It can transform the way that you feel about yourself, your goals, and your environment. Learning about Kaizen made me think about the long history that we have of looking to others, particularly in the East, for wisdom about living well and with happiness. We are living in uncertain and stressful times, and I don't think it is any coincidence that this has resulted in a recent flurry of interest in looking to other cultures and traditions for guidance. This can be seen in the trends for all things Scandinavian, whether that is Hygge, lagom, luka, or sisu, or Japanese concepts such as Ikigai, wabi-sabi, kakebo, kintsugi, shinryoku, and Marie Kondo's popular decluttering methods. Having a change of scene and introducing new experiences into my life meant that I found it easier to break away from my previous routine. I started to take on some new, positive habits in the spirit of Kaizen. I felt inspired to write again, and started doing morning yoga every day, an activity I had previously enjoyed, but that I had allowed to lapse. Some of my habits changed through no choice of my own. It is very hard to find decent cheddar cheese to gorge on in Tokyo. But I also started to change things of my own volition. Being away from my usual temptations and triggers shone a light on where I was misstepping before, in both my personal and working life. I was now working as a freelancer, and this illuminated many of the things that I had been getting wrong with my previous office-based working life. It also meant that I suddenly had to learn to be disciplined with time, and not let work bleed into my evenings too much, although I often failed with this, I have to be honest. I am now back in London, and there are a number of small changes I made during my time in Japan that have become fundamental to my daily life. I am more mindful of how my actions impact my physical and mental health, particularly how I need to slow down, say no to invitations, and take breaks from social media and the relentless news cycle. Japanese society is by no means a perfect one. Japan's gender gap was ranked at a miserable 114th out of 144 countries in 2017, which is by far the worst of the top 7 major economies. It also has some of the longest working hours in the developed world, with a systemic culture of overtime. But using my time in Japan as an opportunity to reflect, taking a step back from habits that had become second nature, and learning from another culture has made me think closely about the ways I was behaving before. It has transformed the way I go about my daily life. I feel far more creative, relaxed, and focused. Kaizen is useful for anybody wishing to change their routine. Rather than making any scary leaps into the dark, it is about stepping back and analyzing your current habits, deciding what you could improve in your existing life, or thinking of new challenges you could start, then putting into place a plan to change in very small, incremental stages. You will hardly even notice the difference to your routine. There are countless books that promise solutions to a happy life. Various senseless fasting diets, eat clean people telling us to eat more coconut oil, and extreme exercise routines from former army cadets with 12-packs. Most people find that these solutions are far too extreme. Their busy lives get in the way, and it's a struggle to sustain these kinds of changes in the long term. Having consulted a number of psychologists who specialize in habitual behavior, the consensus is that making incremental changes to your habits is the key to sustainable results. My life is by no means flawless. I don't own a beautiful mansion overlooking a lake, and there are days when I realize I have eaten only beige food. But I am definitely becoming more mindful of my behavior and habits, and slowly improving the areas of my life where I felt dissatisfied before. I am looking after myself better, and feel more inspired to learn and achieve new things. Amending my behavior with small actions has been transformative. And as my friends and family would attest, if I can do it, then you can too. I have consulted Kaizen practitioners, psychologists, and inspiring people.